Welcome to Melrose Unitarian Universalist Church. Our service today is called Spirituality 101, Gratitude, Even When We Don't Feel Like It. Oh, I didn't change the slide? I did change the slide. Oh well. It's all good. I'm having one of those days where I feel like I've forgotten something, and there probably is something in there I've forgotten. Anyway, I am Reverend Suzanne, the minister of this congregation, and I'm delighted to be here this morning. There's some hubbub, lots of folks coming in. Hello, everybody. I'm glad you're here. Have you noticed it's a bit colder this morning? Yeah, we're supposed to have our first frost this coming week. And even though today's service is about gratitude, I am really struggling to feel grateful for that. So let's change the subject and think about something we can be grateful for. Is anybody grateful for last Tuesday's elections? Yay! Yes, all right. And I am also grateful for yesterday's very successful harvest fair. Yeah, hundreds of people came into our building and learned all about what we do. And they also grabbed some bargains and had a delicious lunch. And we made a little money, too. So I want to invite up Mary Delahanty and the other organizers. Are they with you today, Mary? Oh, good. And they have a little announcement for us. If you come all the way up, that would be great. Everyone can see you.
Well, I guess I am filled with gratitude, too, because we look... How about that? I just want to say, I am filled with gratitude today, too. There were so many people who helped, so many. And one of the things I want to do in a minute is just ask everybody who played any part in this fair to stand up, and we can clap for all of you. But what I want to say is one of the goals that we had for the fair was to revive an event that would let us feel like a church community that was thriving to do things together, happy to do things together. And that's what it felt like to us. So now, would everybody who helped in any way, please stand up. Whoa, wait, no, wait. Woo-hoo. Now, if that isn't, you can sit down. If that isn't a community event, I don't know what is. Our community did this together, and I will share with you how we did for money. Let me do that right now. One of the things, though, before I forget, is because this is the first time the three of us did it, Nyla couldn't be here. Oh, here she comes, come on up. The three of us, this is the first time we did it together, and it was, I think I'm echoing. You hear me? Okay. This was the first time we did it together, and it was a learning experience for all of us, and we would really welcome feedback from anybody that helped, anybody that shopped, anybody that worked, anybody who will share the feedback and treat this year as a learning experience. So, with a little bit of fanfare, I will tell you in a moment the number, but I have to say we're not done with the number yet because there is some apple crisp for sale for $3 out there in Parish Hall, and there are plants you can buy, and you can look at what the tables are for the ministry teams, and I have to say the ministry team tables were a really big success. We had a lot of interest from people coming into the church who maybe hadn't even been inside the church before at what we do as a community. And Beth told me a wonderful story about two people that came to the anti-racism table and said, "We've been watching this church. We're kind of interested in it. I think we'll come on Sunday." Hooray, hooray, hooray. Okay, so here we go. I'm not going to give individual tables. Did you come first time? Is that what this is? That's wonderful. Okay, I'm going to not give individual table totals, but if anybody wants to ask me, I will be happy to share. But the grand total that I'm going to read to you does not include anybody that used a QR code to pay, and we had people that did that both upstairs and down. And it doesn't include a few sales that came in before the 8th. I took some money from people on Friday when we were setting up that I forgot to get in the cash boxes, but it's going into the total, and we'll add whatever we sell for the apple crisp. So, drum roll. Thank you. Okay, the total as we stand right now is $2,537.51. Woohoo! So thank you again to everybody that helped. It really felt wonderful to be part of this.
Thank you all. Our church is a vibrant, caring community dedicated to love and service. If you're here for the first time, we always have a greeter here wearing a yellow stole, and that person can answer any questions for you. Today, that's Mary Beth Griscom. So find that person at coffee hour if you have any questions. Also, we have an usher today, who is Gretchen Locke, thank you, and coffee hour hosts are Beth Yergrau and Rebecca Mooney. Thanks to all our helpers. Before we get started, I have just a couple announcements about upcoming events. Thoughtful Thursday is coming back up. It's always the second Thursday of every month. On November 13th at 7 p.m., we're putting out a program called Making Resistance Fun. Because we know that when our protests are fun, they're more effective, they attract more people, and they're more sustainable for us. So we'll have an expert on that from the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence, which is an order of queer and trans nuns who have been protesting and adding joy and color to their protests since 1979. So that should be a fun event. Also, our pro-democracy team has a new list of resources and events coming up. So if you are interested in joining a protest or a standout, have a look at that. There's a link in the midweek update. One more thing. Did you know that the big, beautiful bill canceled food benefits for refugees permanently? So we're not exactly sure when that's going to start. Either it's sometime in December or January. But our families that the Immigrant Support Alliance is supporting are going to need more of our help. So Paul Belfonte will be in coffee hour today, taking your donations. They're running a grocery card drive, hoping to collect grocery cards to Market Basket specifically. So Paul can give you more information about that. With all that said, let's move on to today's worship service. Let's see, if you point your phone to this, you will get today's electronic order of service. Point your camera at that, and it will tell you all the things that are happening, or you can just sit back, relax, and let me guide you through it. So now is our moment to say good morning and hello to one another. Maybe turn to the people in front of you, behind you, beside you, and say, good morning, thanks for being here. Fantastic. Welcome to worship this morning, including anyone joining us on Zoom today. I call us to worship with a poem on gratitude by Kathy Ross. If the moon came out only once a month, people would appreciate it more. They'd mark it in their date books, take a walk by moonlight, notice how their bedroom window framed its silver smile. And if the moon came out just once a year, it would be a holiday with tinsel streamers tied to lampposts, stores closing early so no one has to work on Lunar Eve, travelers rushing to get home by moon night, celebrations with champagne and cheese. Folks would stay awake till dawn to watch it turn transparent and then slowly fade away. And if the moon came out randomly, the world would be on wide alert, never knowing when it might appear. Spotters scanning empty skies, weathermen on TV giving odds, a 10% chance of moon tonight. And when it suddenly began to rise, everyone would cry out, "The moon is out!" Crowds would fill the street, jostling and pointing. Night events would be canceled, moon closure signs posted on the doors. And if the moon rose but once a century, ascending luminous and lush on a long-awaited night, All humans on the planet would gather in huddled, whispering groups to stare in awe, dazzled by its brilliance, enchanted by its spell. Years later, they would tell their children, "Yes, I saw it once. Maybe you will live to see it too." But the moon is always with us, an old, familiar face, like the mantle clock, so no one pays it much attention. Tonight, why not go outside and gaze up in wonder, as if you'd never seen it before, as if it were a miracle, as if you had been waiting all your life. Amen. Now it's time to light the symbol of our faith, the flaming chalice. Here to light it for us this morning is longtime member Mary Ellen Fitzgibbon. Thank you, Mary Ellen.
Thank you, Mary. Good morning. I invite you now to rise in body or in spirit and join me in our Melrose UU Church vision. The words are up on the screen. We envision a dynamic faith community that nourishes our liberal religious values of love, reason, conscience, and action. We foster lives of integrity, joy, and service to each other, to Melrose and neighboring communities, and to the world. Oh, I think I did this backwards. Sorry.
That is just fine. Thank you, Mary Ellen. And I'm asking you all now to remain standing and join in our opening hymn, which is number 16 in the gray hymnal, if you want to read the music. The words will appear here on the screen. It's one of my favorites, certainly. Simple Gifts. Thank you. You may be seated.
Good morning. I am Rhea Brownbright. I am your Director of Lifespan Religious Education, and my pronouns are they, them. This morning, we have a story from Robin Wall Kimmerer, which some of you might be familiar with from her book, Braiding Sweetgrass, called Bud Finds Her Gift. If anyone would like to come a little closer to see the actual book, I have a copy of the book today, which is not always the case. So I will sit up here and read from it. Bud finds her gift. There was once a little child called Bud who was very good at noticing. She noticed the shape of the clouds, the smell of cookies baking, and even where Daddy had left his keys. And she noticed that everyone always had something important to do. Everyone but her. So she went to talk to Nokomis. Nokomis is a word for grandmother, if you do not know. Everyone is doing big, important things, Bud told her grandmother. I want to do something big and important too. Nokomis nodded. Come with me tomorrow morning, and we will do something very important indeed. Bud's heart soared. Soon she would do a big thing. But what could it be? What do y'all think it's gonna be? Any thoughts? Cooking? Maybe, we'll find out. Planting a tree? Interesting. We'll find out. At sunrise, Bud and Nokomis walked uphill to stand beside a tall tree. Raising her arms in the new light, Nokomis said, "Good morning. Morning, thank you for the gift of this day. Thank you, birds and trees and dew and flowers. Thank you for all the gifts we are given." Bud watched and waited. Then she asked, "Will we do the important things soon?" Nokomis laughed. This is the important thing. Taking time for noticing and saying thank you for the gifts of the earth. Gifts? Said Bud. I don't see bags or boxes. These gifts don't come in bags or in boxes. They come from the earth. Look here. Nokomis showed Bud a strawberry. It was the sweetest thing Bud has ever tasted. Is this one of the gifts, Nokomis? You are very good at noticing, my little Bud, Nokomis replied. Now notice more. Notice with your eyes and ears and fingers, and listen with your heart. Try it tomorrow and see what happens. The next morning, Bud stood by the same tall tree, noticing as hard as she could. Could y'all show me your noticing face? Do you have a really good one? I think mine's kind of like, Noticing with her eyes, she saw the color of the sky. Noticing with her toes, she felt the dewy grass. Noticing with her ears, she heard a beautiful bird song. Listening with her heart, she heard the birds sing. Everyone from the day of their birth was given a gift to share with the earth. I was given the gift of this song, so I share it with you all morning long. The music drifting from the treetop did feel like a gift. Thank you, Robin, said Bud. Bud watched Robin pick out a bit of moss and carry it to a branch. Noticing with her eyes, she saw the moss growing shiny and green. Noticing with her fingers, she found it was soft like cloth. Listening with her heart, she heard the moss chant. Everyone from the day of their birth was given a gift to share with the earth. Being soft and green is what I do best. So I share with the birds to make a warm nest. You give gifts to the birds, Bud said, and we all get to hear their songs. Thank you, Moss. Now Robin was eating strawberries. Do y'all like eating strawberries? Yeah, they're really good. Are they the sweetest thing in the world, or is there anything sweeter? Chocolate sweeter? That's a fair point, but maybe the sweetest of berries. Everyone likes berries, Bud thought. Then Robin pooped on the soil. The little pile of poop made Bud laugh, but she noticed it was full of strawberry seeds. Seeds Robin had just planted. Did you know that's one of the way our plants get planted? Sometimes animals will eat something with seeds and poop it out, and it plants it into the ground. Yeah, it's one of the many ways. It's called seed distribution. The wind does it, poop does it, lots of ways to do it. The little pile of poop made Bud laugh, but she knows it was full of strawberry seeds. Seeds Robin had just planted. Listening through her laughter, she heard the little poop thrill. Everyone from the moment of birth is given a gift to share with the earth. Even bird poop is a gift for the berries, for the special delivery of seeds that it carries. Thank you, poop, she said, then giggled. Bud kept noticing. She noticed the soil holding the seeds and the seeds growing up to make leaves. She noticed caterpillars eating the leaves, butterflies pollinating flowers, flowers becoming berries, and mushrooms turning everything back to soil. Everyone played a part, giving gifts to one another all the time, each gift leading to the next. The more Bud noticed, the more thankful she became. Saying thank you for all these gifts was very important indeed. But was it enough? Do y'all think this is enough? It was time to talk to Nokomis again. Did you find gifts? Nokomis asked. I saw birds and moss and butterflies, Bud said. They each had a gift to share. Even bird poop planted seeds. I want to be part of it too and give a gift as well. But I can't make nests or leaves or berries. Nokomis, what is my gift? Nokomis hugged her. Don't think of the gifts of things you can't do. Notice instead what you can do. Those are your gifts, my dear. Bud thought about Nokomis's words. She began to notice herself. Bud noticed her arms and her legs. She noticed her voice. Suddenly, Bud began to sing. Everyone from the day of their birth was given a gift to share with the earth. She picked up her shovel. I was given the gifts of hands and knees, so I'll share them with all by planting more trees. Allison called it. Bud noticed happiness growing inside her. Bud kept singing. I was given the gift of my words to remind us to care for the bees and the birds. I was given the gift of my art, and I share it with you, so we'll all do our part. I was given the gift of seeing, so I share it with people to watch out for all beings. They're all gardening together. Bud called Nokomis. I found my big, important thing to do. I have gifts to give too. Well done, my little Bud, Nokomis said. Now listen again with your heart. What do you hear? Bud listened. Should we all listen for a second? Maybe you're hearing some mysteries I'm not. It was as if everyone, including Robin, the moss, and even the little poop, was singing. Yeah, the little poop was singing, Orion. Everyone from the day of their birth was given a gift to share with the earth. You will know that your gift is true when you hear the earth be thankful for you. And that is the end of our story. And with that, any kids who would like will head downstairs and we will think about the things we notice and how to show gratitude for them. And we will be going outside. So if our kiddos have a jacket or something like that that they need to be comfortable, I encourage them to bring it downstairs with them.
I wanted to mention in our announcements this morning that if you left last week, we made an altar for our ancestors. If you left a memento from someone, so there are some photos and things left over. They're in the front pew here, so feel free to come and pick them up. Every Sunday in the center of our service, we create together a time of quiet meditation. Let us enter this time now by closing our eyes and breathing deeply. Feel your feet on the floor, connecting you with the good earth. Feel your body relaxing, sinking into your seat. Breathe deeply. During this meditation time, first we'll join in our centering song, and then we'll sit for a few moments of shared quiet. Then we will talk to one another about our joys and sorrows, and I will lead a prayer. Our worship theme for November is Nurturing Gratitude, and our centering song is number 1010 in the Teal hymnal, We Give Thanks. Please remain seated and join in the song as you like. The words will appear here on the screen. Let the song guide you gently into our time of meditation. It's our tradition here every Sunday to share with one another our joys and sorrows. We speak briefly and with care so that by sharing with one another, we get to know each other better, and the sharing knits us into an ever stronger community. We become better companions to one another on this journey of life. I invite anyone who has a sorrow to share this morning to come forward and speak from the microphone so everyone can hear you and see you. People who are joining on Zoom can type a sorrow into the chat box, and I will read them aloud. So, Gretchen, you lit the candle, and that was for everyone as a symbol of all our joys. And may it help us to feel and express the gratitude that we have for the many, many blessings in our lives. For our prayer this morning, I wanted to try something different. Not sure how it will go. But I have a video prayer this morning with words from Brother David Stendhal-Rast. He was born in Austria and became a teenage resistor to the Nazi occupation, then moved to America where he became a Benedictine monk and has been one his entire life. But he's also studied Buddhism deeply, and he's a world expert in interfaith dialogue. And for him, the meeting point of all world religions is gratefulness. He wrote a book called Gratefulness, the Heart of Prayer. And so these are his words that some other wonderful person put to video. And because he has an accent, I've asked Bill to put the captions on so it might help us to understand it a little better. This video is about 5 minutes long, and it is a prayer. And I have cut my sermon down a little bit so that we have plenty of time for it. I hope you enjoy.
You think this is just another day in your life? It's not just another day. It's the one day that is given to you today. It's a gift. It's the only gift that you have right now. And the only appropriate response is gratefulness. If you learn to respond as if it were the first day in your life and the very last day, then you will have spent this day very well. Begin by opening your eyes and be surprised that you have eyes you can open. That incredible array of colors that is constantly offered to us for pure enjoyment. Look at the sky. We so rarely look at the sky. We so rarely note how different it is from moment to moment with clouds coming and going. Open your eyes, look at that. Look at the faces of people whom you meet. Each one has an incredible story behind their face. Not only their own story, but the story of their ancestors. all that life from generations and from so many places all over the world flows together and meets you here like a life-giving water if you only open your heart and drink. Open your heart to the incredible gifts that civilization gives to us. You flip a switch and there is electric light. Turn a faucet and there is warm water and cold water and drinkable water. A gift that millions and millions in the world will never experience. And so I wish you that you will open your heart to all these blessings and let them flow through you. That everyone whom you will meet on this day will be blessed by you, just by your presence. Let the gratefulness overflow into blessing all around you. And then it will really be a good day.
Amen.
Our church is self-funded, supported by your generous annual pledge. You may also give to our weekly collection, which we split every month with a worthy group via our Giving Beyond Our Walls program. Remote folks can donate using the link at the top right corner of our homepage at melroseuu.org. For November, half our collection plate will go to the Food Drive, a Melrose-based nonprofit that distributes rescued, surplus, and donated food to shelters, low-income housing residences, and food pantries, including Bread of Life. The Food Drive also provides direct service through our weekly community freezer program, offering free heat and eat frozen meals to all who need them. Our offertory selection today is a piece with music by Jason Shelton. The words come from the Celtic Book of Daily Prayer, and it's called Saranam, a word from the Sanskrit language which means a refuge. And the historical Buddha Gautama Siddhartha has been known to say that the community is our refuge and the most precious jewel that we have. Saranam.
In midst of foes I cry to thee.
That was so peaceful. Thank you. As many of you know about me, my husband and I lived in Wales for 13 years when our kids were younger. And back when we lived in Wales, we tried to come home every summer or every other summer to see our families who lived in Detroit and LA. And on one trip, when our kids were something like 10 and 12 and 14, we decided to add on a little extra road trip in our rented minivan to drive from LA out to the Grand Canyon and Bryce Canyon. And we brought along James's mother with us. Have you ever been to Arizona in August? It was a long drive. It was a very long drive. But you know, finally we got there, and then standing on the edge of that vast natural wonder with my family, I turned to them and I said, well, what do you think? And one of them, who shall remain nameless today, said, meh, it looks like a giant screensaver. And I've seen better. Well. It turns out that my kid is not alone. You may have heard of a book that was published in 2021 by an artist named Amber Scher, and it became a bestseller. It's called Subpar Parks. You heard of that? Yeah, her lush illustrations were captioned by reviews that she found about our national parks that travelers had left online. 1-star reviews for our national parks. For example, there's an illustration of beautiful Bryce Canyon with the caption, "Too spiky." There's a painting of North Cascades National Park in Washington State with the heading, "Too many mountains." And someone else visited the thermal pools at Yellowstone National Park and commented, "Save yourself some money, boil some water at home." So you could argue, maybe, that it's safe to say in this culture, many of us struggle to feel and express our sense of awe and gratitude. Even when we're surrounded with unbelievable bounty and the incredible gifts from nature, some of us can't always see them or feel our gratitude. Now, you could blame social media for this, but it goes a lot deeper than that. I remember back in college noticing that people often equated smart with critical. You got more respect from other students if you criticized and picked apart ideas than if you appreciated them out loud. And in the workplace, back in the 80s and 90s, I remember that we competed fiercely, sometimes tearing others down instead of building them up. We often said to one another, "It's a dog-eat-dog world after all, isn't it?" And of course, at the same time, as we said, in this culture, we're trained to be consumers, to always want more and better and different. And a side effect of that is that we sometimes feel dissatisfied with what we have, with where we are, and we keep striving always for the next thing. We actually start to believe that life would be perfect and we would finally be worthy of praise and attention when we get that next promotion or the bigger house or better clothes, the leaner body, the fancier vacation. The good stuff, the best stuff, we're trained to believe is scarce, and we have to fight for it. In this consumerist world, true gratitude is still countercultural. It's radical at any moment to step outside of the drive for more, and say, actually, I have enough. I do enough. I am enough. But once you start it, the practice can be life-changing. Precisely because gratitude is countercultural, I would argue, it can be deeply healing. It was only 20 years ago that scientists first started to study the effects of gratitude. But now numerous studies have shown that having a grateful outlook on life, counting one's blessings, expressing gratitude to others, can have positive impacts on our emotional health, as well as on our interpersonal and romantic relationships. Some studies, but not all, have shown that gratitude can even benefit our physical health. One of the main doctors in this study, Dr. Emmons, said, "Gratitude heals, it energizes and changes our lives. It is the prism through which we view life in terms of gifts, givers, goodness, and grace." Many studies asked participants to write letters of thanks, or you probably heard of this at night, to have a gratitude journal to list positive things that happened through the day. And then these studies measured the effect of those acts of writing down gratitude. And the results suggest that performing these types of activities provides mental health benefits. It reduces the symptoms of depression and anxiety, and it also increases self-esteem and the sense of satisfaction with our daily life. I'm curious, does anybody here keep a gratitude journal? Yeah, I tried it, but I'm not one for routines. But I work on my gratitude daily in other ways. I try to keep a grateful frame of mind. Science is actually, a recent study contended that not only does gratitude improve the well-being of the giver and the recipient, but it also helps you, even if you just witness someone else being grateful, someone else thanking someone else, helps you. Watching an act of gratitude causes an observer to feel warmth and affinity toward them both. So gratitude has also been associated with lower blood pressure, and in one study, even higher levels of heart rate variability, which is a marker of physical well-being. So why is gratitude so powerful? Why does it feel so healing to us? My personal theory is that it disconnects us from this more consumerism and reconnects us to something fundamental about human nature. If you've read any books by Robin Wall Kimmerer, you know what I mean. As Rhea mentioned this morning, she wrote Braiding Sweetgrass, which we read together a few years ago, and she wrote the new children's story that we read today. Her works all share gently in beautiful prose the traditional ways of life of her people, the Potawatomi of the Great Lakes region. Along with many other indigenous peoples around the world, Kimmerer teaches us the way of Mother Earth is not scarcity, but the opposite, abundance. Beyond and beneath the prevalent capitalist myth of scarcity, we already know the greater spiritual truth, that there is more than enough for every person and animal on the planet, if only we would learn to share. And that starts with us. When we learn to live in alignment with the truth of abundance, we stop our striving, and gratitude becomes a way of life, a pathway to everyday joy. in the prayer this morning, Brother David Stendal Ross, whom you met, he told us about that. And one of his favorite quotes that I like to remind myself, he says, "It isn't joy that makes us grateful. It's gratitude that makes us joyful." Despite my sense of foreboding about the coming of winter, I am working on becoming a more grateful person day by day. I have times when I struggle, but yesterday was a good example for me. For our harvest fair, some of the church leadership thought it was important that we add on some children's activities in the front yard. So I put myself in charge of that. And I don't know if some of you didn't notice, but we had a bouncy castle outside yesterday. And that was really fun. But I had to be here. The delivery window for the bouncy castle was 6:30 to 8:30 a.m. So I was the first one here yesterday. For me, it became a long day from 6:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. And I could have felt grumpy about that. By the end of it, my body was a bit sore and I was hungry. I stood up most of the time. But I remember thinking throughout the day that I didn't want to be grumpy. I wanted to feel grateful, and I chose to be grateful, and it made the day joyful for me for 3 reasons. First, I got to chat and catch up with my fellow volunteers, which was really fun. Some of my favorite folks here in church helped me out front with the fun fair. Second, I got to chat with new people, and I got to talk with them about our church, and that was really lovely. And third, I got to give kids and parents a lovely gift from all of you, the gift of outdoor play. It's something new and different for them to do on an overcast Saturday in November. It was an everyday thing, but it gave me great joy. And fourth, the most important thing that I found joyful and I felt gratitude for yesterday was over and over those moments when a 3 or 4-year-old would climb into the bouncy castle for the first time and just feel it under them and start jumping. There were just squeals of the purest joy over and over again. And how could I be grumpy around that? It was really a joy to just stand there all day long and watch kids jump up and down, chat with their parents about it. And most of the little kids, wonderfully enough, when they got off and put their shoes on, came up to me to say thank you. And their parents said thank you. And I know the parents genuinely meant it because they had just gotten a break. It was lovely to give them all a gift on your behalf, and it was a joy to me. And at one point, I looked over yesterday. So in addition to the bouncy castle, we had some lawn games. We had a giant Connect 4 and a giant Jenga and, axe throwing. Not real axes. They were kind of like Nerf axes, but teenagers really liked that. That was really fun. So we got people to play that. Anyway, at one point, I looked over, and there was this little girl who was maybe 4, and she and her mom had been putting the discs in the Connect 4 and playing with it. And she looked up, and she saw for the first time, it seemed, the Japanese red maple that we have out front, which I think was planted in honor of Alan Gromitstein. Anyway, it's bright red right now, if you haven't seen it. Very bright red and about half empty. But yesterday at one point, the sun came up over the building. Fine, it's been overcast all day, and the sun came and shined right on that tree, and it just sort of started glowing. And the little girl looked up and saw this, and she just stared at it, and her mouth dropped open. And I was staring at her, and maybe my mouth dropped open too, I don't know. But I got to enjoy her joy. And she just stared at it for the longest time, and then very gently she went over, and she grabbed a leaf and she shook it, so she could see the light dancing between the leaves. And she stared at it a while longer, and finally she took off one of the leaves. It's going to fall off in 2 days anyway. And she gave it to her mother to sort of just share the moment. And it was just a sweet little thing that, if I'd let myself be grumpy, I probably wouldn't have noticed. But because I was in gratitude mode, I did notice. And it was lovely. Simple gratitude, noticing the abundance all around us and sharing it with people. Maybe this is one of the gifts of my advanced age, that I have time in my life now to notice these moments. But maybe it's more that I'm done with striving and competing. And maybe that's true for you too. Maybe you have a little more space in your life for beauty and gratitude and joy. And I bet you can find a way to share it with young folks, people who need it even more than we do. Like Nokomis in our story this morning, the wonderful grandmother who shared her joy and her gratitude, not by telling her granddaughter, but by showing, by allowing her granddaughter to live the gratitude and the abundance and the beauty. And I feel like we should all strive to be like her, to be regulated and calm, grounded in abundance and gratitude, because that's the grandmother that the kids want to go to with their questions and their problems. Science tells us that gratitude is the key to living longer and living better, and indigenous wisdom agrees, and it even points us toward the deeper wisdom of truth, of abundance. Together, they demonstrate the healing power of gratitude for ourselves and our children and for our whole society. Just as a side note, I'm proud to report that the kid who was unimpressed by the Grand Canyon eventually grew out of that. They now love and appreciate nature and our national parks, and they delight in teaching me all about new birds and animals that I didn't know about before. So there is hope for all of us. Gratitude is the first step to joy and healing and hope. And it's also, I think, the second step and the third and a whole way of life. May we together find our way closer to that path. Amen. I invite you now to rise and join in another of my favorite hymns, For All That Is Our Life, which is number 128 in the gray hymnal. The words will appear up here. Thank you. Thank you. Please, would you remain standing for just a moment and join with me in the chalice extinguishing words. We extinguish the flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Please be seated. Our worship has ended for today. Thank you once again for joining us. I invite everyone to join in for coffee and refreshments in Parish Hall, which is the next big room off this way, right after Tom says goodbye with a brief postlude. I'm sure it'll be lovely. Thank you for joining us, and happy Sunday.